how have you seen the mainstream media's job over the past 2 years? And, what do you see them as right now?
A joke. A joke is all I can say. It's just one great big comedy show, to be honest. The whole thing, it's just diabolical. It's for kindergartners. You know, I'm a teacher, and I have taught all ages because of my job as an ESL instructor. You do teach all ages. You go from kindergarten to primary to secondary to high school level, and then you've got the trade schools and the university students and all that. And it's kindergarten level. The people, it's really elementary. It's really amazing that it's revealed how simplistic society really is in actual fact. They have been under a spell, I call it. It's a casting spell, broadcasting, It's a bit of a spell and a bit of bewitchment that
Hypnosis.
they have been. Yeah, well, that's it too. Technically, that absolutely is hypnosis. But nowadays, it's nothing but predictive mind control, predictive programming. That's all it is nowadays. They just prep you up for the next thing they're going to drop these days. So they couldn't get away with COVID, or really. So they needed to come up with the monkeypox thing. There's more to it, but yeah, no, the media needs to be taken to task. The media needs to be reformed. I was actually asked a few questions by, I think it was Stuff, or was it Radio New Zealand? Oh no, it was a Radio New Zealand. It was an invitation to go into the Radio New Zealand show, and they asked, what is this all about? This Wellington convoy, and I said to him, the government's out of control and the media is also out of control. And he just gave me a woke reaction, calling me a conspiracy theorist and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, why did you even ask me to come on your show if that's going to be your response? So I'm not going to appear on your show. So no, there's no point me sitting there talking to a woke journalist about real life issues. There's absolutely no point. So I've had several invites to be commented on or interviewed by mainstream media in New Zealand. But no, I've just declined each one because it's just simply not worth it. There's no value gained in talking to these Muppets at all, to be honest. I'm afraid. Sorry, Stuff. But, yeah.
It's so controlled, and they only allow what they want to be out there and not actually tell the full story. And I think these people in media, mainstream media, who are doing the bidding from those behind the curtain, I think there's going to be some justice served out on them because of what they've done and the way that they've helped with the mind control that's gone on in New Zealand through the mainstream media and covering stories, but not actually telling the truth. Telling a whole bunch of lies, and in a way, it's got us, the alternative media, to come out and actually tell the truth. And the truth, as I say, the truth can set you free, but it will piss you off at first. And a lot of people laughed at that and said, "Yeah, that's true. It actually did piss me off because now I realize that the stuff in the Matrix that the mainstream media were, making up, that's all it was just a whole bunch of lies." And what really, I think, got my attention with the media was when the COVID thing happened here around the world, but when it came to New Zealand, Jacinda said, look, we've got a certain amount of money, I think it was 50 million, allocated straight to the media. They went straight there to fund them. And that there is a signal to let people know that, something's not quite right there. They've been paid off. They've been paid off to do the bidding.
That fund is up to 100 million now.
Crazy.
That crazy. Fund is now up to 100 million. Earlier this year, I think it was released another was slightly shy of 100 million anyway. It's roughly the same amount, but it's about 40 million, something like that. So they're being paid off completely, and I'm really shocked to think that although I used to admit to my students in China that New Zealand has always been a little bit slightly socialist, with the thing that the social welfare, the dole, I guess we call it the dole back in New Zealand, social welfare, free this, free that. But the reality is, a real communist country like China, like unless you're really old, there is actually no real financial support with you. If you're a young person, 18, just left school, there ain't no social welfare in the communist country. You're on your own, mate. You got to get out there and create your own job if you want to survive. You got grandmas in China, grandmas working in construction sites, carting wheelbarrows of rocks and cement around. Real literal grandmas in their 70s working. That's the kind of society. And it's the same even in the Philippines as well. If you don't have a job, you got to create one. So I kind of like, Philippines is a good example because it's not a socialist country, but it has the same characteristic that, I get it that getting started in life is really hard, and you just finished university or you just finished school and you're on your first job, but planning to leave school and get on the dole or a benefit and getting pregnant with tons of kids just to have a free housing, free this, free that. That would not even wash in these countries, in places like Vietnam and where I am, and China and the Philippines. It just wouldn't wash. You wouldn't get away with it. So I think New Zealand has coddled the nation way too much, and it's to the point now where they literally own them. New Zealanders are now socialist lapdogs to the New World Order, essentially.